The Friday of fall break. We just started fall break, but I am here making this video for when we return. This will be your homework for the last week of quarter one. And you'll be given it on whatever that Tuesday is that we come back. So fill in the blanks. For every three squares, there are 2 circles. That is it. Really no work to show. Write the ratios of apples to oranges in simplest form. So I'm going to say 6 apples to 2 oranges. I could also write 6 to 2. And I could also write 6 over 2. I want simplest form, which means I need a number that 6 and 2 are both divisible by. They are both divisible by 2. Okay? 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay? And if I wanted to try to look at it and match them up, I could say, oh, this orange, right? It's going to go with those 3 apples. And then these 3 apples go with this orange. So that I could do it that way with the drawing also. Number 3. The diagram shows a mixture of black paint and white paint needed for 3 batches of a particular gray paint. So to make some sense of it, what they're saying is, this is a batch of paint, this is a batch of paint, this is a batch of paint. What is the ratio of black paint to white paint for 1 batch? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 black to 3 white. And how I explained it is I drew circles to group what I needed for each batch. Okay. So that's the ratio, and that's explaining my thinking. I'm going to change the color. It's one of the things I like about doing it on the board. Lynn makes sparkling lemonade by mixing 12 cups of lemonade. So I always like to just say 12 cups of lemonade to 16 cups of sparkling water. Okay, so there's more water than lemonade. What is the ratio of sparkling water to lemonade? I wrote 12 to 16. Now, it doesn't say reduce, but I am going to reduce or simplify because both of these are both divisible by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So, explain your answer. Now this is important. Since it said lemonade first, I wrote that number. I wrote that number first. Then it said sparkling water. Second, so I wrote that number. In this case, okay, I wasn't sure, and I have very bad handwriting, so hopefully you can read that. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to reduce. So I did. I found the greatest common factor. Oh my God, I found the greatest common factor of both numbers. Okay, I'm going to erase some stuff here. So I wrote, since it said lemonade first, I wrote that number first. Then it said sparkling water second. So I wrote that number second. I wasn't sure, this is where I'm at, if I was supposed to reduce, so I did. I found the GCF of both numbers. And I'm going to erase a little bit here. And once I found the GCF of both numbers, oh my gosh. Once I found the GCF of both numbers, oh, that's not what I want. Let's go back over here. I divided 12 and 16 by the GCF of 4. There's a lot to write there. Okay, but the other part that I wrote, and then at the end I wrote, I divided 12 and 16 by the GCF of 4 and got 3 to 4. Okay, that's a little messy. I'm going to clear my annotations and go on to the next one. Oh, we're back to this. Lynn made sparkling lemonade by mixing 12 cups of water, 12 cups of lemonade to 16 cups of water. If she uses 4 cups of sparkling water. So I've shown this to my students, and this is actually how I would do it. I would write 12 lemonade, and then I would write 16 water. And over here on this side, 4 water. So I would need to figure out, how do I get from 16 to 4? So 16 divided by 4 is 4. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. So I would do the same thing on the top. 12 divided by 4 is 3. One of my students pointed out that when I do it this way, it kind of looks like a hamburger. So that works. So she would use 3 cups of lemonade. Okay. So now it says explain your answer. I'm going to actually try and type it because I have really bad handwriting over here. So you would want to put it in the number 5 box, but I set up a ratio of 12 to 16, correct? And I set up a second ratio of some unknown number over 4. 4, 16, and 4 are both water, so they need to be in the same position. I'll just move this up here a bit, okay? Then I figured out that to get from 16 to 4, I needed to divide by 4. So then I went back and divided the top number, which was 12, by 4 and got 3. Okay? So that is my steps for how I did it. Let me go on to the next page. I think I'm going to go on to the next page. Is there? Oh, there we go. An extra page there. Tuesday. Write the ratio of squares to circles in 3 different ways. So I think I did this before. I could say colon 4 squares, because that came first, to 3 circles, 4 to 3. This is kind of cut off. but this is a fraction. If you can't see it, it's like that. Okay, number 1. That was easy. I got that. Number 2, to make hummingbird nectar, you use 4 cups of water to 1 cup of sugar. So what is the ratio? It's 4 to 1, or you could write 4 and then a colon 1, or you could kind of do it how I have it over here, 4 over 1. Yay! Next one. Baird makes pink paint by mixing 16 tablespoons of white paint. Oh, I'm going to just write this. 16 tablespoon, and I always use my words to help me. White, 4 tablespoon red. Which of these mixtures produce the same pink paint but in a smaller amount? So the first one that they give you is 15 to 3. Well, to get from 16 to 15, you're subtracting 1. There's no multiplication or division. I've said in an earlier video, I always want multiplication or division when I'm dealing with ratios, so it's not that. For every tablespoon of red paint, use 4 of white. So let's see, to get from 4 to 1, I would divide by 4. What if I do the same thing to the top? Divide by 4. Oh yeah, that one works. Okay, let me erase a little bit. Oh, why does my eraser stop working? Any idea? There we go. It's probably not large enough, but we'll clean that up. Okay. Mix tablespoons of red paint and white paint. They put red first here, but white should be the first number. Right? It's not the same order, so it's not that one. For every 2 tablespoons of red paint, so now it's sex-fine, 2 tablespoons of red paint, 8 tablespoons here. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. That's correct. And the last one, rather than trying to erase everything, I'm going to do it over here. 8 tablespoons of white to 4 of red. Oh, no, because these are the same, right? But these are different, so not that one. Okay, so again, on C, I just want to point out that the reason that one's wrong is because they list the word red first, okay? Over here, even though they list the word red first, they have the number right there going with red. So that's why D is correct and C is not. Okay, let's clear my annotations. Lynn, oh, we're back to Lynn and her sparkling lemonade. 12 cups of lemonade, 16 of water. If she uses 6 cups of lemonade, okay, how many cups of sparkling water would she use? Okay, and it's so, to get from 12 to 6, I'm dividing by 2. To get from 16, divide by 2, I would get 8. So it says explain. I'm going to type it right here. I'm going to try and make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So first, I set up the ratio of 12 to 16. Then, since it says 6 cups of lemonade, and lemonade was on the top in the first ratio, I set up the second ratio with 6 on the top because they're both lemonade. Then I figured that so remember I have to using either multiplication or division, I would divide 12 by 2 to get 6. So I took the number on the bottom, which was 16, which is and divided by 2 and got 8. Okay, so that's my answer. Number 5. To make a batch of yellow paint, let's do yellow. Yellow paint. Diego mixes 3 cups of yellow to 1 gallon of white. Uh-oh. He wants something that will be darker. Okay? So if he adds more white paint to the mixture, it's going to get lighter. So it's not that. 5 cups of yellow. So we're going from 3 cups of yellow to 5 cups of yellow. That will be darker. It will have more yellow. 2 let's look at the next one. Let me color code these. The next one says 2 gallons of white paint and 3 cups of yellow. So if he keeps the amount of yellow the same and increases the white, it's going to be lighter. We're not going to count that. Add more yellow paint to the mixture. Yep, that's going to work. And if he does 3 cups of yellow, so if he keeps the yellow the same, but a half of white, he has less white. Less white will make it darker. Okay? So it's B, D, and E. Moving on to Wednesday's homework. When dyeing yarn, it is recommended that you use 750 milliliters for every 25 grams of yarn fiber. So they've done this, 750 to 25. So you can use a calculator. I'm going to get that here. And I'm going to say, I want to figure out how I'm getting 750 to 150. So I'm going to divide 750 divided by 150 is I'm dividing by 5. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. Oh, by the way, 5 divided by 5 gives me 1. So I'm going to keep dividing by 5. So 150 divided by 5 is 30. That's Wednesdays. Tuesdays. To make a large batch of pancake mix, I want to change my color. To make a large batch of pancake mix, the directions say to use 40 cups of water, 40 water, 28 mix. He only needs half the amount of pancake mix. What ratio would represent half the recipe? So half is divided by 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. If you're not sure, use a calculator to check it. Okay? And 40 divided by 2 is 20. Explain. Half means divide by 2. So I divided both numbers by 2. Number 3. In an orchestra, the ratio of flutes to violas is 2 to 8. Complete the table. Oh, I don't know how to get from 2 to 5. I'm going to come back to that for a minute. I know to get from 2 to 12, I multiply by 6. Okay? So 8 times 6 is 48. What if you say, Mrs. Falk, I don't know. I don't know 2 times what is 12. You can use fact families. 12 divided by 2, and you can even use your calculator. 6, so 6 goes there. Okay? So I got 48 here. So I'm going to work a little backwards here. Now, next set of numbers. I happen to know that 48, to get to 12, I'm going to divide by 4. But if I don't know, I could say, okay, well, I know 48. I know I'm getting smaller, so I'm dividing. It's 4. So I'm dividing by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay. So by the way, if 2 flutes go with 8 violas and 3 flutes go with 12 violas, I can add these 2 together. 5 flutes would go with 12, 8, 20, right? Okay. The other thing I might have noticed that 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times 12, 3 times 4 is 12. So 5 times 4 is 20. So the same thing for this last one. I'm going to change color so you can see what I'm doing. There's lots of different patterns here. Let's go orange. Is some number times 4 equals 72. I can work that backwards. 72 divided by 4 is 18. So this would be 18. So when we have a table like that, we're just figuring out patterns. There's lots of different ways you could do it, but that's one way. Number 4, Bard plans on making several batches of blueberry muffins. Explain your thinking for each part. If Bard uses, I don't have, that's a typo. Bard plans on making several batches of blueberry muffins. Explain your thinking for each part. I do not have the recipe there, so I can't tell you that one. Complete this table to show the possible amounts of blueberries and sugar that could be used for larger batches. Well, this might go with number 4 somewhere, but this is blueberries and sugar. I don't have a recipe. That's a problem. Okay, we might have to come back to these. So let's go over here. Maybe the recipe is on the next page. Let's see. Okay, orange paint can be made by mixing 35 teaspoons of red paint and 14 teaspoons of yellow paint. Kieran and Raya each attempt to make a smaller amount of the same original paint. Okay, so let's see. 35 to 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I can tell, so how do we get from 14 to 2, we divide by 7. But that's not 10, so that doesn't match, Kieran, no. Since it's divide by 7 for the yellow, it would have to be 5, right? 35 divided by 7 is 5 for the red. Okay, that's the first part of your answer. I'm going to erase just so I have everything here. And I'm going to go back to, okay, so the original thing is 35 to 14. Priya has, I'm going to put my glasses on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. 15. But that should be, okay. So I want to see, I don't think this is going to work, but let's see. 35 divided by 15 is 2.33. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Priya's does match. Because when you set up, I know my handwriting is very bad, so you can listen to it. When you set up the ratios and check each one, you find that she is dividing, that's dividing by 2.33333333. So again, that's why sometimes we need to be able to use calculators. Sometimes kids will be like, oh, that's cheating. If your teacher's telling you to use calculator, here's a perfect example why. Because I would not expect you to know that 35 to get to 15, you'd have to do 2.33. Okay? But Priya's ratio does work. Kieran's does not. To make a large batch of, we've done the similar one before, but let's go over here. To make a large batch of pancake mix, 40 cups of water to 28 cups of pancake mix. Lynn wants to use 8 cups of water and 7 cups of pancake mix. So is that going to work? No. Because when you set up the ratios, you would divide 40 by 5 to get 8, but you would divide 28 by 4 to get 7. So that's the first part. So when you set up the ratios, you would divide 40 divided by 5 would give you 8. And 28 you would divide by 4 to get 7. So let me erase some of this. Okay. So since you are not dividing by the same number, it's not equivalent. It doesn't work. Okay. Looking ahead, I can see for 4 and 5, I'll have to get the recipe and do a video for those, but we can at least get through number 3 here. Okay. In an orchestra, the ratio of first violins to harps is 3 to 1. Complete the table. So basically to get from 3 to 1, I'm dividing by 3. I can also go this way. To get from 3 to 15, I'm multiplying by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay? To get from 3 to 9, I'll try a different color here. 3 to 9, I'm multiplying by 3. So 1 times 3. Hold on a second. 1 times 3 is 3. The other thing that I do is, if I go this way, I'm dividing by 3, right? But if I go this way, I'm multiplying by 3. So I'm going to do that for my other two here. 12 times 3, 36, and 8 times 3 is 24. So that's how I get that all filled in. And as I said, for number 4 and for number 5, I do not have the correct recipe, so I'm going to have to get that. Thank you so much for watching.